morning. They call that the loneliest highway in the United States, Highway 50 in Nevada. I drove it once. It just went on and on and on and on. And what was funny about it was the signs on it, of course, have roads for intersections that say, Lincoln County Highway, whatever. You'd be driving for like 3 hours and the county wouldn't even change. So, like, there's counties in Nevada that are bigger than other states. It's where I belong. So there in the middle of nowhere. Hello, Felony. Hello, Lauren. Hello, Elijah. Better showing this week than last, where people did not like the show being on Tuesday. I've resolved that if nobody shows up today, that's it. Mondays work for everyone else. Mondays no longer work for me. And you guys are all just here to talk to each other anyway. So I could just set up the show so that you guys just talk to each other and then I don't even have to be here. There's some sort of complicated alternative to actually having like the Discord or something. Are you guys in the Discord? Curious if you are. Looks like D is here. That's nice. I know that you're one of those people that watches later. That you're one of my inexplicable numbers where when I check later in the day or the next day, it's like, 30 people watch that. Who are those people? Who are the 30 people who watch the show? I used to even get like even higher numbers, like 45. And I have like 137 subscribers. Who are those people? Who are they? I don't even know. Foxy's here. Foxy never misses a Kiefer show. When I drop in to check out what's going on with Kiefer, Foxy's always there lighting it up. Oh my God, must be nice to be so well attended. We would like to talk and annoy you, Jonathan. Well, I'm hardly annoyed. Drew's here. That's weird. I don't like Tuesday being in the show. You don't like Tuesday. You don't like the show being on Tuesday, or what do you mean by that? Or you don't like me doing this on Tuesday? Well, you have the power to stop this, Drew. He tells me when he's going live. Well, with the exception of my recent schedule change, Foxy, the difference is I'm predictable. Kiefer cannot get together anyone else in his life, whether that's Dan or Rob or who's that new guy? Scaramanga? I don't know his name. or even Jill. He can't do it at a routine time. I'm here every time the same week. I can't stop Tuesday. You can stop all this from happening, though. Listen, I have a toddler. Yeah, it's funny how I've been on the air for 3 years and you still have a toddler. You've had a toddler every day for 3 years. Are you sure they're just not growing up? You leave Rob alone. I leave him alone. Hey, Drew. All right, guys. So I guess on with the show for whatever that means. I found out about the memes from Instagram because I'm not partaking in any other I'm not watching the news or anything. So I have no idea what's going on. I found out this morning that I guess that they keep appointing people to be in charge of Iran and they keep killing them like right away. I didn't download any of those memes because they were from 10 minutes ago when I was on the turlet. But the other thing I saw is that apparently the CEO of McDonald's tried one of his own burgers and didn't like it and called it a product on some sort of video, which I thought was funny because it's like if you want to sell McDonald's burgers, like watch Guy Fieri on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives because every single episode he acts like whatever place he has just been to is the best place he's ever been to. He could sell it. He's had 10,000 episodes of that show. And as long as it's not eggs, he'll eat it and he'll say that it's the best thing, that this is dope, brother. Welcome to Flavortown and you're the mayor. He says that every week. Anyway, I don't know if anyone saw any of those, but I thought they were funny. But back to Iran, just focusing on what the show is actually about, because apparently we have to do it that way. Yeah, I don't know if Lauren said that he liked the fact that I was actually selling the show as what it is. Cultural meme analysis, which sounds like a fun time. I don't know how people who support Donald Trump feel about the war in Iran. I don't know. Like, as you can imagine, my algorithm's pretty well trained to politically to be kind of following the MAGA movement or the people that are speaking loudly on that side. Not even like your biggest voices, the people that you would definitely recognize, but just like anybody who's kind of aligned that way. They are all over the place. Is this the best thing that America's ever done? Is it the worst thing that America's ever done? I don't know. So we're going to go through them now and see if I could figure out just from the memes whether or not this major foreign policy decision that may shape the rest of American foreign policy decisions for the rest of my life. I'm going to decide from these memes before the show's over how I feel about Iran. I'm just going to decide. It's like a social experiment. First of all, some of the more flippant ones. Actually, they're in no particular order. Mr. President, I'm hearing rumors that the IRS is days away from having nuclear weapons. I trust you will do the right thing. I remember this because I took a video of me and my dog, Walt, years ago, where I was petting the dog and talking to the dog. And I asked Walt what he thought of the Iran nuke deal. And I think that was the thing where Obama sent a big pallet of cash to Iran and asked them to please stop developing nuclear weapons. To answer the question, Walt was not really a big favor of that. He was a corgi. You know how they are. And now, so Obama gave them a bunch of cash, and Trump blew them up real quick. And didn't Iran make some kind of attempt on Trump's life earlier this year or last year or something? I remember them talking about it briefly. They like, obviously, when you're getting shot in Pennsylvania, you know, what somebody in Iran thinks of you is sort of minor, you know. Minnesota is only weeks, if not days away from owning nuclear weapons. Minnesota is so close. We have got to do something about Minnesota. I'm okay with something bad happening to Minnesota because I believe that with prevailing westerlies, I am upwind of Minnesota. This is bad news for Wisconsin, Lake Michigan, and Michigan itself. But you know what? We got to do what we got to do. We got to take care of Minnesota. So there's some people who seemingly like it, I guess. And then Jack, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. This guy's a friend of Charlie Kirk, I believe. I believe he temporarily hosted the show. He says, I want what was done to Iran to be done to every Mexican cartel. So he liked what happened to Iran. He just wants it to happen in Mexico. Can you imagine if Mexico was like this place that was really safe to go to? I think that would be really good for the country. I think a lot more Americans would go there. Of course, if we blow it up, you know, then it's not so good. You look tired. Yeah, I've been constantly living through major historical events for the past decade. Someone told me, or someone was on Instagram this morning that's saying 7 years ago. Is it 6 years ago? I think it was 6. That it was the last week of our normal lives. Of course, being March of 2020 was right before the pandemic hit. It's hard to believe that was 6 years ago. You know, for me, if I'm thinking 6 years ago, I'm thinking 2015. My whole generation, I think, is in a state of denial or arrest about the ceaseless march forward of time. And only the memes document our bewilderment as it keeps going on. Here's the meme that Lauren liked from the show. Here's where we are. We did the World War. We did World War II. We're just before World War III. That's where we are. And then don't forget World War Tokyo Drift. Boy, Japan's not going to be happy to have that back in their lap. World and War. World 7 and War 8. You know, you got to hand it to them for them making utterly unoriginal movies. They were pretty good with their titling scheme. They actually did a good job with that. My problem with the Fast and Furious movies is I probably saw the first one, and the whole premise of the movie is, you know, we all used to do all these jobs, you know, car driving, fast robbery jobs. We do one more job and then we walk away forever. And then it got pretty ludicrous pretty quickly, pun intended, to the point where you literally have a guy in a car in space. Also, Paul Walker dying while making the movie. He's so committed to his character that he improvised that. That wasn't even in the script. Anyway, here's something else that I thought was interesting. I don't think necessarily true, though. I just say this to court a little controversy, hopefully. Here's a little something to have handy the next time you hear about Democrats screaming about right extremism. All these guys were shot by Democrats. Lincoln, yeah. He was shot by an actor, no less. He was shot by the 18th century equivalent of Johnny Depp. Right? And then you get John F. Kennedy. I don't think that he was killed by Democrats, just to be clear. And Robert F. Kennedy, much less clear. I'm not real sure who killed him. People say Sirhan. I don't know. And then, yeah, JFK also, really those three, really unclear who killed him. And then Reagan, he was shot by the order of Jodie Foster. John Hinckley was the trigger man, but he was just a puppet to Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster, another big Hollywood liberal. And then who shot Donald Trump? We don't even know. How are you going to say that person's a leftist or Democrat? You don't even know. We're not allowed to know. He's the sitting president. Someone tried to kill him, and we're not allowed to have any information about it or even talk about it. You'd like to think that Donald Trump is a man that can't be threatened at all, but I'm pretty sure that he can be. And then Charlie Kirk, enter the conspiracy theorist talk there. I'm always very shocked whenever I see that online. Someone who's not paying attention to the world, but only through memes. Like occasionally I'll see something like, you think that Erica Kirk is annoying. Look at this. And it's just like, people think Erica Kirk is annoying. Is it that we've seen the grieving widow thing too many times to still be moved by it? I'm guessing that's what it is. There's 40 comments. Holy shit, this show's more popular than ever. Well, I have to go way back. I was just here to see if war is bad or good. I'll have to listen later. I don't know. I don't know the answer. My son's a mini version of Johnny Knoxville, so he's hosting a mini Fear Factor. Anyway, I don't know if war is good or bad yet. We still have more to do. Oh, new show idea, Mayor of Blandtown. I think that was something we did on this show before. When it was called Smoke Break. I think I made some food. I think I had Vegemite and stuff. And arroz con pollo, which I was told I made wrong. Are you drinking this early? Yes, it does appear to be a White Russian. However, it's coffee and cream served in a rocks glass inexplicably. And it's leaving me disgustingly with a coffee milk mustache every time that I drink, which is a huge mistake because I'm live on the internet. Are you still eligible for the draft, John? If so, can we make sure that we get drafted together when our time comes? There's two levels of the draft, right? There's the practical everyday draft, the one that I signed up for, the Selective Service Act, that said that you're not eligible once you're like 30 or 31. Since I'm 41, I'm way past eligible. However, then there's the kind of draft that Ukraine has where it's just like, if you are an able-bodied man, prepare to die fighting the Russians. If we get into an existential war, I guarantee you they'll try to have me do something. I think that they realize that having me jump out of a beach landing craft and absorb a round that was otherwise going to kill a much more younger and effective war-fighting person behind me, I believe that they see that as a worthy thing to do to me. So possibly. Either way, when the Democrats take over again and put me in prison, I hope that we're cellmates. That would be fun. Hey, Abby, I'll pay you to stop. Lauren, if you want to pay me money, if I get a notification on my my Venmo of a significant amount of money, I will stop the show. I don't care. I am absolutely in this for personal gain. Chase is here. Good morning. Is it Monday? Well, I changed the name of the show. Well, Yes, I'm sorry. I'm not remembering the history of the show. Do you not remember last week when I said that I Stand Correct is on Tuesdays forever going on? Abby, are you having Alzheimer's a little bit? Remember Monday dropped and you were in the chats and the name of that episode was It's on Tuesday now. And then I talked about why it was on Tuesday. I feel like I'm always having to kind of explain what I already explained to you, Abby. Should I just call you more often? Is that what you need? Do you need a personalized attention as to when I will be around? I will let you know exactly what's going on. Foxy likes that Kiefer tells her when he's going live. Kiefer has to, call people and text them, let them know. I could do the same thing, I guess. If you wanted to start paying for that service over here, Abby, you could just point your cell phone at this and then, you want to drop a few bucks in there. I don't care. I'll call you to tell you I'm about to go live. Leave the Fast and Furious movies alone. They are 100% real. Well, of course they are. Paul Walker's really dead. He's gone. I miss Charlie Kirk so much. I wonder about what he would have to say about everything in the last 6 months. I miss him too in a sense, but I was never a big follower of his until he died, weirdly. So I miss him probably differently than other people do. Tyler says, hit the like button. That's fine. What helps the show out more is actually comments in the comments section. I know that tradition, like long-standing failure to stop tradition, is make sure you hit the like button. More engaging is comments. And but that's okay. I'm actually not trying to make anything out of the show. Do you still hear the lambs screaming? The silence of the lambs? I don't know why you brought that up, Foxy. I want you to know that when you bring up Silence of the Lambs and you start quoting it out of the middle of nowhere, you have to preface that. You can't just say, oh, you know what movie I would just randomly thought of this great is this Anthony Hopkins Jodie Foster movie. If you just start quoting it. I guess maybe you were paying homage to Jodie Foster. I think Erica Kirk is the issue, isn't she? She isn't the grieving widow. Is that what people are saying? Is that, oh, she's the pissed widow? I don't know what's going on with Erica Kirk. I don't know how public opinion about her has changed since September. I'm gathering that it has, though. I'll pay you to stop. Oh, was referring to Obama. Lauren, if you send me a pallet of cash, I guarantee you I will stop doing the show. I attempted humor. Oh, I'm sorry, Abby. I like how my default is just to jump on your case. What are you doing, Abby? It's not very nice. Brittany, I'm not sure I've heard a whore stop working for money. Oh, but I'm a whore for the money, not for this. And I think if you paid a whore enough money, she would stop having sex, wouldn't she? I don't know. I like how you just liken me to that, though. It hurts. All right. Back to the memes. Most of those comments weren't even for me. We need to reinstitute the policy of if you want me to read it, it needs to say John at the front of it, possibly in capital letters. Oop, you guys weren't supposed to see that one. I didn't scroll up nearly high enough. That's not political. But later, we will be making peanut butter water from 2 simple ingredients. Sorry about that. Yes, what? John, she just puts my name in all caps. All right, here's where we were. Okay, we're getting there. As our country entered World War III, I couldn't help but wonder, is it time to focus on World War Me? I think this is a Sex in the City thing that I don't necessarily understand so well. But this is this is me. The situation that we're in is I'm still focusing on me and what I think about it. Trump preaches peace through strength, and then he uses strength, and then Twitter users, for some reason, were very shocked by this. I'm also finding out that Trump referred to himself or his cadre of people as the Board of Peace recently. Like earlier in February, they were calling themselves he was the chairman of the board of peace. Like, if he can't get a Nobel Prize in peace, he's just going to be on the peace board. And now the other side, clever is there, they're saying that he was bored of peace, like he was bored by it. The other people are saying that like this is very much like a Woodrow Wilson thing to do. That you campaign on non-interventionist stuff, that you campaign on not getting America involved in foreign entanglements. Then you get reelected and then you just do whatever you want to do. And some people are saying that, was it Marjorie Taylor Greene? I think that's what her name is. The congressperson who quit Congress and stopped supporting him. She's saying that he betrayed all of his country and his followers. I guess because he's enriching the military industrial complex. But this war in Iran also is apparently not going to last for like 20 years because we just keep blowing up whoever the next man is up to the podium of leadership of Iran whenever they name a new Ayatollah or whatever. Or like, I'm just the acting manager of Iran. We blow that person up. That seems good. And it seems nice that the idea that Iran could become a good country again, that it could reject Islam, and that the other memes that are out there on Instagram is that Iran is actually secretly full of hot women and that we need to liberate the hot women of Iran. That is a thing. And then there's other people who are saying that this is all about just advancing the Israeli agenda, which is inherently bad, and that the people of Iran can't wait to have all the things that we suffer from in this country because of Iranian or Israeli influence. And so that's somewhat a more cynical take. I don't know if I should be happy about the hot women of Iran being free or if I should worry about the advancement of the Israeli agenda. Those are the two things that I have to worry about, I guess. Those are the two things competing. I don't know. When you're laughing at World War III memes and suddenly the sun comes out at 3 a.m, that's also something that could happen to me. I do have a window in here. And it is a rainy day, which we don't get a lot of here. And I would love to be up there celebrating the rainy day. Exactly. Dr. Helen Ingram says, neither side eats bacon. This is not my war. We should only be fighting for people who will eat a double cheeseburger. And we should only be fighting against people who don't. I think it was on Fleccus Talks, a show that I used to watch and then stopped watching for my mental health. Still a great show. But that one of the only test for becoming an American citizen will be whether or not you will sit down and eat a double cheeseburger. You have to eat the whole thing. You have to do what the McDonald's CEO essentially did, but you have to enjoy it. You have to prove that you'll eat beef and that you'll eat pork to become an American. I think it's a great test, but it would get rid of a lot of like far out there vegan, vegetarian people, and we would get rid of the people who don't like eating pork. I don't think that those people necessarily need to be here either. This, of course, I wish I'd had the clip prepared. Oh, if I was a better podcaster, which is the joke I used to make on Hard Time a lot. If I was a better podcaster, I would have had this prepared. That clip from Tombstone, which if you're ever feeling down and depressed, if you're ever feeling like half a man, watch Tombstone. It'll get you there. I didn't think you had it in you. I'm your Huckleberry. My fight's not with you. I beg to differ. We started a game when we never got to finish. Death to America, remember? Oh, I was just fooling about. I wasn't. That scene with Val Kilmer. Oh, it's so good. I wasn't fooling around. So is war good or bad? What did we decide? John, Iran used to be a free place before that. I know. Yeah, back in the 70s, we deposed the Shah. The Crusades had a purpose, just saying. Yeah. Well, Iran was a free country as late as the 70s. They had Western culture there. They were, until we deposed the Shah. The Shah was not terribly, amenable to the United States government. And we're like, well, we'll depose him and get rid of somebody that will help us fight Iraq. Or it might have been the other way around. Yeah, it was the other way around. And so then we deposed the Shah of Iran, and then these extremist guys took over. Shocking that there were extremist guys waiting in the wings in the Middle East. And then we recruited Iraq we gave them weapons to help us fight Iran. Do you see why we should just not be involved at all over there? Because the tables are always about to turn on us. No matter what, the tables turn on us in the Middle East. We should just not be involved over there. We have to be, though, because of the oil and various other things. Bye, Jenny's. Thank you for dropping in. I know Tuesdays don't work well for you. Neither side eats bacon. Yeah, the Crusades had a purpose. Yeah. I'm very anti-Islam. I'm an Islamophobe. You know, and another meme that I should have shared with you is the reason for that. I don't think that your phobia, your fear, is irrational if it has a reason. It's because they keep blowing people up. Sorry, I remember 9/11. I remember the terrorist attacks in London. I remember various things that they've done, you know, in the name of their 72 virgins, and the stuff that they're not doing when they're not blowing people up, killing gay people, hurting women, marrying children. It makes you not like a guy, to be honest with you. It's some very they embrace some ideas that are very antithetical to what my values are. It's not personal, but it is complete. So not interested in having them see their interests served around the world. I would be fine with it if the religion of brutality and being an asshole would cease to exist, because that's all it is. You had this guy in the year 900 who really just wanted to be an asshole, and somehow he went full Charles Manson throughout history. You know, eventually everyone kind of got sick of Charles Manson, right? Like he got his apostles, he got his 12 people, then he was done. Helter Skelter put an end to that. The book, I mean. And then he was done. But Muhammad, whatever, really just Charles Manson for history. He created a cult of being an asshole that lets you do whatever you want. Yes, I still feel, Foxy. I feel sad. It's not personal. It's biblical. An even better way of putting it. It is biblical. It's they're not friendly to Christians. The other thing is that if you want to go down this path, Lauren, is that the Israelis are not friendly to Christians either. I think that we've talked about this enough on the show before that we actually don't need to take the show in this direction, but I think that you and I both know what we're talking about. And it also drives me nuts whenever we refer to this country as having Judeo-Christian values, when literally we didn't even have Catholic values when we started this country. We came over here for Protestant Christian values, like a very specific kind of Christian values. Like the Catholic Church was not a thing for England. They had the Anglican Church by then. Okay, they had already rejected the Catholic Church. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was Protestant in a strict sense, but England was fairly anti-Catholic. They were extremely anti-Catholic, actually, when they started Roanoke and Jamestown and all that, all the Pocahontas time stuff. All those people, none of them were even Catholic. So this idea that everything that this country was set up to be was for this diverse paradise, it's not true. It's to the point where we don't even have Judeo-Christian values. Okay, there weren't Jewish people fighting for this country in the American Revolution. There weren't even Catholics, and I can prove that because I watched a very interesting video the other day, and it was about how, hey, when we started kicking the British out of here, how come the Canadians didn't get in on that action? They saw that the colonies, the American colonies, were kicking these guys out of here. It would have been very little for them to be like, you know what, we want Britain out of here too. And it's because of the way that England treated them and the fact that they were half French and that they were Catholic and that they wanted their Catholicism protected, and England was willing to do that for them. It had a lot more to do with religion in Canada than it did here. And the reason why that matters is because, they were Catholics up there. So Canada and England found a way to help maintain their allegiance with Canada by basically protecting their Catholicism. Giving them the freedom to be Catholic was what Canada got out of the American Revolution. I bet you didn't know that. And so when you talk about the Judeo-Christian values of our country, that's very much a muddling. It should really just be the Protestant Christian values. It's not even pro-Catholic values. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Like, what have you heard? That like eventually the Catholics came to this country, the Irish people. The idea that Kennedy was this Catholic president was a big deal, that he was the first Catholic president. Why was that? Why was that controversial? Why did people hate that? Well, it's because we weren't even a Catholic country. We weren't even Catholic. Like these days, like the difference between Protestant and Catholics, nobody even cares, right? Because we're all just Christians. And then we're going to say, well, we're also Judeo-Christian. We're going to bring in the Jewish people as well. No, this country was not founded on Judeo-Christian values. That's just historically inaccurate. We could say we have those values now if you want, but we weren't founded on those values. Just to be real historically accurate. I want to be real accurate. Guys, it's the cigarette round now. It's cigarette meme time. A lot of people send these to me. How many cigarettes can you keep in that thing? I mean, it looks like a full carton. What is that, 30? How many would go in there? What do you guys think? Is that an extended mag for cigarettes? You guys remember Handy Snacks? I saw at work the other day that one of my coworkers, all his food was thrown away recently, which was an absolute awesome move. And now he just brought all his food back and eats it out of a fucking box like a homeless person. And one of the things that he has in there is Handy Snacks. And I'm like, oh, I remember these. This was food I ate as a child before I developed a sense of taste. And I remember even being a kid and thinking this is not that good. Look at that cheese product there, that government cheese there. It doesn't need to be refrigerated, guys. That's the kind of cheese that is. And this is a grown man, even older than I am, and he will eat this food. I guess he's not aware that food gets better at any point. Look at this, guys. Can you imagine getting a box of cigarettes that like advertises Linkin Park's latest album? Of course, this came out in like 2002 or whatever, maybe 01. But can you imagine just how awesome our lives would be if we were allowed to have advertising synergy between, say, record companies and cigarettes? Our lives would be objectively more awesome. We would have, you could collect cigarette boxes. Can you imagine that? I suppose right now that legislation came out that cigarette companies can do whatever kind of advertising they want, and you could do a "Gotta Catch 'Em All" style campaign, to celebrate Linkin Park's 50th anniversary or however long they've been around. That you can buy packs of Marlboros that celebrate all the great album art. Or for Abby, she could get the White Album cigarettes. She's such a Beatles fan. You could go ahead and get the White Album commemorative box of cigarettes. And here's the thing, Abby. I know what you're thinking. Well, I don't smoke and I don't want to smoke. It's a collector's deal. You don't have to smoke. In fact, it's better for your collection if you don't even open them. But what I'd like to see, if it were up to me, I mentioned Gotta Catch 'Em All. I would like to see a box of cigarettes that has Pikachu on them. Charmander. It's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. I want to go to the store and I want to see 150 different boxes of cigarettes. And I want to buy every single one. I think that would be great for the American economy. It would be great for tobacco. It'd be great for the farmers who are out there busting their butts farming tobacco only to have the government stopping them at every turn. Smoking off-brand cigarettes hand-rolled by children in cities you wouldn't go to with a gun. That's the American dream, isn't it? Smoking that way. We're over the cigarette round now. I'll check in with everyone now that the cigarette round is over. So the Catholics are to blame. Yeah, I'll blame them. You know what's weird? I'm just going to say this too. This is going to be unpopular, but I'm not that popular anyway. I have nothing to lose. I'm kind of like North Korea with the nukes. I'm just waiting for someone to nuke me so I can nuke the whole world because I ain't got nothing to lose. Very desperate country, North Korea. I have nothing to lose, but I'm not desperate. What is the deal with Catholics? Why do they call themselves Catholic? I sound like Jerry Seinfeld doing like the worst setup in the world. But if you follow Christ, why don't you just call yourself a Christian? And I think it's because they're not Christians. Otherwise, they would just call themselves that. Why would you say, we're in the Catholic Church or we follow the tenets of Catholicism, which also follow Christ? It's like the way that you talk about yourself and the way that you identify yourself is important. I mean, this is the era of identity politics, isn't it? So why are you putting anything in your identity other than Christ as a Christian, especially if you're talking about yourself and your faith? Well, then why are you talking about Catholicism at all? Even if you are a Catholic, you should just call yourself a Christian. But Catholics do it to set themselves apart from Protestants, which is what I am. And I don't think it's good. I think it's actually a serious problem that only I'm aware of. But don't worry. The next time I encounter a Catholic, I will immediately point it out to them as though it's an issue for them to fix. Because I'm like that. Lauren says he wants Linkin Park cigarettes. So do I. I want them too. I wouldn't get all their albums, but I would get Hybrid Theory. I would get the Reanimation one. I would get Meteora. I would maybe get Minutes to Midnight. That was like the last Linkin Park album that I bought. And then I'm pretty sure they had like 4 albums after that. So I only need like the first ones. I can't even get a menthol. Are you in California, Lauren? I have someone that I work with, her mother lives in California and she has to ship menthol cigarettes to her. Lauren, if you are in California and you cannot get access to menthols, I mean this very sincerely. If you want me to send you some menthol cigarettes, I will. You've been a supporter of this show for a long time. You've been very kind to me. You've dropped money on me before, which is something only you and Michael and Joni have done. And Shorty also goes without saying that she drops lots of money on me on comms that are in here. I'll send you some menthols if you wanted to get in touch with me and send me your address. I'll send you some menthol cigarettes. I do not care. I'm pretty sure that's in violation of some kind of California law, but I don't care. Camel menthols, Falk. It's not the same. Okay, well, maybe you can get menthols, but I rolled my own cigarettes for a long time. You say the word, man. I'll send you some cigarettes. Where I live, wherever that is, I get whatever you want. Yes, I'm in California. Lauren, you reach out to me if you are serious and you want me to send you a pack of menthols. I'm sure you can find a way to get in touch with me. You know how to do it. You're smart. I just vape now. That's sad to hear. Please see now. This guy knows how to get me. He's like, oh, I just vape now. Send me your address. I will send you a package of Camel menthols. I will send you some just to remind you of the good old days. I think one package wouldn't hurt you. You get in touch. I'm dead serious. I'll send you some. I don't care. I've sent bigger packages for no reason to other places, so I would be happy to mail something to you. Not a problem. We'll get you there. All right. I love millennials so much. We turned skipping breakfast into intermittent fasting. That's so creative. Yes, this thing that we have to do is now intentional. I'm doing some fasting to get back on track. You guys have heard me say this 100 times. Oh, I'm trying to manage my weight. I need to do this. I need to do that. I've decided to not even tell you about it this time because it's just an unending, never-ending struggle. Back to that. All right. Serious question. Do people actually exist who genuinely enjoy staying home all day, completely alone without seeing anyone? I'll be doing that more on the weekends. It's been weird this winter because normally there's snow to shovel, and there's been no snow at all this winter. And that's sort of what preoccupies me. I go outside and I shovel the snow, and then I get tired, and then I do podcast work. But I haven't been doing hardly any podcast work recently just because of the way that we restructured Comm Center and the way that my other shows seem to no longer exist. I did do an episode of Hard Time recently that you should watch if you hadn't watched it. But so like this past weekend, I think I prefer to put Hulu on because Hulu never stops to check to see if I'm still alive. You just put that on and it just goes. And I just relaxed the whole day, and I didn't interact with anyone. And it was really nice. So I'm that guy. I can go a whole day without seeing anyone. I would actually love to experiment and see how many days I can go without seeing another human being. Told the therapist recently that I never wanted to see anyone else ever again. We have still not circled back around to that. I think if she asks me, well, what about that? I'll be like, you know what? I'm doing it. And I just never come back to therapy. She can't bill my insurance anymore. Back to politics, slightly out of place. If they hated the IRS as much as they hate ICE, by the way, is everyone still hating on ICE? I haven't seen anything about that in the news recently. Are people still fighting ICE? You people have to let me know. I have no idea. If we hated the IRS as much as they hated ICE, we could make some real progress right here. Can you imagine IRS agents like having cars aimed at them and people like interfering with them as they go and do their daily business? I would love that. I would love people hassling IRS agents because you know why? Because ICE agents, they're committed. Like, they really want to apprehend people and deport them back to wherever. That's like real criminal interdiction stuff. They want to do that. An IRS agent doesn't, I don't know what personal benefit or what they get out of doing their job, being a tax collector. What is it that they like? Just having the steady income. They're a bureaucrat, I guess. They're an accountant type person, and they get to go around. Maybe is there some sort of intrinsic reward for making sure that a person is absolutely squeezed for every dime they supposedly owe? I don't know. Maybe there's an IRS agent out there who really loves this job. You never hear them talking about it. Can you imagine us hassling them though? The IRS gets out and the thing is that we get on ICE for what they do, ICE doing things without a warrant and all this. The stuff that the IRS does without any legal basis that I can see really is problematic. So I think if we knew when the IRS was going to be out there auditing people and seizing assets and stuff, damn, I think that would be a good time. I would actually be as crazy and as stupid as those other people, as Renee Good and that Alex Preddy guy. I would go be them, but I would get killed hassling an IRS agent. For legal purposes, you could hear the laughter, which is how you know it's a joke. In all seriousness, I would never want to hurt anybody. But I like the idea that we could get so worked up about federal agents who work for the Department of the Treasury. I don't know. There's something really American about that I find really appealing. You guys will have to let me know if I'm just going to federal prison or if that was a good idea or not. Here's something interesting. I know that my show was about 20 years too late for the whole birther movement thing. But Philip Schuyler says, to give you some idea of how long and how severely our intel agencies and media have been lying to us. This is from the Sunday Standard. This is a paper in Kenya. This is a newspaper in the country of Kenya. It's, it's not one of the United States Virgin Islands or whatever. It's a country over in Africa. And it says Kenyan-born Obama all set for the U.S. Senate. It has a picture of Barack Obama. And it says Kenyan-born U.S. Senator hopeful Barack Obama approved an act to take over Illinois Senate seat. See, the Kenyans believed he was from Kenya. If the Kenyans believed it to the point where they published it in a paper, we're not allowed to even question it. I know it's too late now. You can't take back those 8 years of Obama presidency. There's no point to even have a birther conversation. But the Kenyans believed he was from Kenya. How did they come under that misapprehension of fact? Anybody have any idea on that? How did we get to that point? Phone is cigarette for eyes. I've been trying to quit smoking recently. This also is great artwork that should grace a cigarette box. Very beautiful. But yes, the phone is the cigarette for the eyes. I think that that's true. And it's also addictive, just like a cigarette is. And I've been trying to quit. People forgot about the Minnesota daycares, so ICE is no longer needed. Plus, now they have moved on to Iran. Okay, so we have shifted the national conversation. That's good. I love hanging out with people, but I also love being at home and working on a project. We have a foot of snow on the ground since January. It's great. Let me guess, Abby, you are not the one who's being tasked with removing it from your grounds, and you are not the one having to drive around in it. I'm guessing. My husband has to get the mint chew as an Indian reservation store. I have heard that that's the place to get it. You can buy flavored tobacco at reservation stores. Yeah, I've heard that. I'm not willing to go to the reservation to get that. Lauren would have to pay me quite a bit for me to go over to the reservation to get that stuff. I'm not saying that the deal's not off the table. I'm just saying, like, the price goes up if I have to go onto the res to get it. I mean, there's driving, but there's also just me going to the res. All right, guys, pay attention to this multiple choice round. This is where I really wish Jenny was still here, or that Shorty was up yet, because we're going to build a sandwich. Select one out of every row. I personally, I like all forms of bread, especially now that I'm not allowed to eat them. I've always been a sucker for wheat. I think as a child, I was denied wheat bread. We always had white in my house, and my mother seems like the kind of person who would deprive me of vitamins, to be honest. I wouldn't go gluten-free. That's probably the only thing here that if I had the chance to do real bread, I'm going to do real bread. Marble rye. I remember when I was finally old enough to have a complex enough palate to enjoy rye, I was very into that. Marble rye is good. Here's the problem. All of those meats are good. And you know what? What's better than any one meat? 2 or more meats. But it's not just better. It's, I don't know. It's more than the sum of its parts. When you could get a turkey and pastrami and you put that together, it becomes just far and away like asymptomatically better. I don't know. And then so corned beef also coming up here when we've got St. Patrick's Day right around the corner. And then cheese. This one's a little bit hard. The cheese really just depends on the meat, right? So if you can't pick just one meat to have a sandwich, what are you doing with the cheese? So I'm going to do my best to match them. Okay. I would say turkey goes with cheddar, pastrami goes with Swiss, ham goes with provolone. But that leaves you with corned beef and American, which isn't true. That can't be true. All right, so turkey and American, corned beef and Swiss, ham and cheddar, and pastrami and provolone. I think I accurately matched meat to cheese. I feel like that should be a game show, matching your meat to cheese. Turkey and American, ham and cheddar, pastrami and Swiss, and corned beef and provolone. Let me know your thoughts. And then dressings, of course, left off of this completely. You need to be talking about some sort of vinaigrette or something for a complete sandwich. But if this is just your basic pack for a kid sandwich, it really does depend if you're eating this now or later. I like how bacon is clearly should be on the meat tier, but it's been relegated to like some sort of accoutrement tier. Bacon should be on the primary tier. On the other hand, I guess they want you to be able to have bacon with any single other meat that you pick, which is a bonus. I'm a tomato guy. I like tomatoes. I won't have spinach without a tomato, but if I'm having tomato, I might have spinach on there as well, some sort of leafy green. And then pickles. The thing is, I can't really do bacon and pickles because that's just too much salt, right? And it really depends on the composition of the rest of the sandwich. But I'll do bacon, lettuce, and tomato all day long, and it really depends on pickles. I know Jenny's a big pickler. It really just depends on what else we're gonna have there. Sauerkraut, yeah. If you're gonna have corned beef, yeah. Chase says A, white, 2, 3, pastrami and ham, and then he chooses X-ray, provolone, and then 7 and 8, bacon and pickles. Not bad, not bad. There isn't anything saying one from each. Chase is like, this is not an exercise. This is just us looking at sandwich stuff. Take all of it. Just build me a big club sandwich. I want that thing that Shaggy from Scooby-Doo ate. Because there's nothing here that says that that's what you're doing. He says white, ham, provolone, and then pickles. That's a little weird. Doesn't look bad. There's no bad sandwich. Rye, pastrami, provolone, bacon. That's not bad either. John hates me. I don't know. Why does everyone say that? They always, whenever they want my attention, they always say John hates me. I think Abby says that a lot, and Foxy says that a lot. I think you're in a club if you ever say that I hate you. Tyler, our resident Canadian, says white, and then ham, and then cheddar, and then bacon. That's not bad. You didn't do a bad job there, Tyler. I would say the bread maybe needs a little more to desired. Well, in California, you can get it here. All right. Hopefully you can get all the... Make me a Dagwood. Yes. Yes. Chase knows what he's talking about. He knows. Wheat, turkey, and cheddar, I guess, is the most popular cheese. People are not down with Swiss at all. And I guess not American either. I never say you hate me. No, but on Comp Center, I will literally be doing a live show, and you'd be like, John is ignoring me as per usual. And I'd be like, I am in the middle of something right now, Abby. I am doing a live show. I'm trying to talk about Corey Richards and balance these assets and talk to people. And you know what's been driving me nuts lately? This is not something that you guys need to be concerned about with, but when I'm doing Comm Center and I'm, talking to Drew and sounding competent, and I'm answering people in the chats, half the time it won't let me answer people because like YouTube won't let you post this because it thinks it's spam. Why don't you try rewording it? I'll do that 4 or 5 times and then just give up because YouTube won't let me comment on my own video because it thinks I'm spam. I'm the person hosting the show. How could I be spam? That's a rant for no one. Does anyone want to hire me to be their evil advisor? I mean, normal advisor. Let's do some normal advice. What do you say? This is what I mentioned earlier. We will be making peanut butter water from simple 2 ingredients. The way he spelled ingredients here, Charlie, very confusing. Danielle Hara-Rains says, I'm going to start telling everyone I graduated from Harvard. Fuck it. No one actually checks. Just tell them you're a Harvard grad. The problem is that I'm applying for jobs that no Harvard grad would apply for. So it becomes instantly disbelievable. No one's going to believe I'm from Harvard. But I could probably set up a more prestigious college than the one that I usually mention on my resume, which is the college I actually went to. I'll start putting down colleges. And I think that makes sense because honestly, do they check to see if you graduated from that school? I mean, you'd tell me, is anyone out there working at college and does someone call and ask for a copy of transcripts or to verify that someone actually went to the school? Honestly, there's actually no registry for people who have college degrees. So like, couldn't you just do what Jeff on Community did and just faked having a degree? I think he actually went to law school, but he faked his bachelor's degree. I don't know. I know that law school doesn't take you unless you have one. So he must have done some kind of scheming and forgery. But if you're going directly into the workplace, into the job market, couldn't you say you went to school and got whatever you wanted? Because who the hell does check that? If people did do that, think about this for a second. Stop what you're doing. Crash the car ignore your children. If it actually did matter what school people are putting on their resume, there would have to be people at colleges who did nothing but verified that someone graduated from there. I think we know that colleges are not verifying resumes. There's nobody that does that. Is there any reason why I should bother to put down that I went to sort of a good college, but not a nationally recognized college? Particularly if I am aiming for something, I might as well just read the Wikipedia about that university in case it comes up in the interview. And then I could say something about it, at least know the school colors or the mascot or something in case it comes up. If you're actually going to choose a big school, like make sure you know something about the football team, just in case, if someone says something to you about, the Tennessee Volunteers winning that championship, you better know that they only had one and it was in 1998. You should maybe be aware of that. I don't know. No piece of trivia that you could really sell it with, but there's nobody that's going to check because there's nobody that verifies that stuff. And I feel stupid because I'm 41 and I'm not in the job market. And I just now figured out that there's really that's not traceable. Nobody's doing that. Frustrating. Nobody checks. I would say don't say you went to Harvard because it's like the number one most obvious school. Like if you just said to a random person, name a college, they'll go Harvard. So don't say that. But if you want to say like I went to Eton College, in Great Britain or Emory, the United States, like nobody will know. Nobody will check. Just as a reminder, guys, some things are only okay when I do them. This is the double standard, my patented two-standard system where there is a standard of behavior for you and a standard of behavior for me. And the two standards are not the same. And I should not be held accountable to the standard of behavior which applies to you. Not only that, but if you mention or talk about or employ the double standard system in any other situation, remember that is my intellectual property. I should be receiving some sort of royalties from them. This guy's a real hilarious guy. This seems like someone I would be friends with in real life. That was sarcastic because his name is Captain Jean-Luc Dickhard. That's not funny. Anyway, he's wearing a shirt that says, "I heart the jury to my trial." I love you, jury. Aw, how could you hate that guy? My son just asked me if he has to wear a shirt to Taco Bell, and honestly, I don't know. As a boy, and even a few times as an adult, I would run around without a shirt on. You can do that as a man. That's a privilege that men have that we have largely forsaken. By the way, we need to bring back not wearing a shirt. Do you know why? Not because it's tasteful, not because it's a good idea, but because we can. We can go around without a shirt on. We're legally allowed to do that. That is a privilege. That is perhaps the only real male privilege, and none of us are doing it. We need to bring back the male privilege of not wearing a shirt. At least when you drive a car. Like I get, you're going into the restaurant, you should probably wear a shirt. You're going in the grocery store, you should probably wear a shirt. If you're going through the drive-thru though, man, you do not need to wear a shirt. What do you guys think? I want to put that to you in the comments. Do you think it's okay for men to not wear shirts as they do things? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's risky? Do you think that some men ought to wear shirts and others ought not? I don't know. But it's probably the only true male privilege other than like peeing outside. And we're not doing it. So we need to bring that back. But as a boy, I would very rarely wear a shirt. I was running around in shorts all summer long. I wouldn't wear shoes either. And I remember being summoned to the table for a meal, and I wouldn't want to put on a shirt for that. But obviously, you should put on a shirt if you're eating a meal at a table with other people. I want to read the comments on that. I should really focus on getting memes that like make people want to comment more. Congrats on hitting your Q3 numbers. Here's an even bigger number in Q4 that you will be fired if you don't hit, you fucking moron. That's something I'm really glad about the private sector that I don't have to deal with, is the constant expectation for growth. Just because there's so much outside of your control. But maybe if you're really good, you can set growth every quarter. This is kind of where I show that I'm a loser, because I think most people can deal with that. But I remember being in the private sector, and I remember like my job in the private sector was to stop people from stealing stuff. And because of the way that I handled my job, I was really struggling to get that done. I was I was a rules follower. I didn't realize that no one else in the company was following the rules when it came to apprehending shoplifters. And so I was like making sure I did everything by the book. I shouldn't have been. I should have just been absolutely taking people out. But it was tough. I would get really, really deeply frustrated about the lack of success in my job. And it was because people were ripping the store off. It was frustrating. Really hated that, actually. Yes, we did those already. Are you willing and able to assist in case of an emergency? Shit, we'll both find out at the same time, buddy. You know, when they ask you that before the plane leaves, they say, are you willing to assist a crew in an emergency? You say yes, but like, can you imagine how fucking scary an emergency is in an airplane? The people are always like, because I don't get to sit there anymore, because the people always buy those tickets for the emergency exit row. They're like, oh, yes, of course. And then she's like, I need verbal confirmation from you. Why do you need verbal confirmation? Is that something that holds up in court, that if the plane crashes and you said before takeoff that you would help passengers, but all you did was jump out that door and then seal it up right behind you, trapping everyone else inside? Are you liable for that? I mean, I guess in a strict sense you are, you know, if you're going to make sure that everyone else on the plane dies. But they need verbal confirmation from you. They don't even know your name. It'd be one thing if, like, you know, like if you were going to treat it seriously, you should hold up your hand. You know, I, Jonathan Bays, do solemnly swear that I will uphold and affirm the safety of all the passengers and that I will faithfully execute all instructions given to me the flight crew. So help me God. You know, if you take an oath like that, that's a whole fucking thing. But if if the lady that brings the Pepsi is just like, will you help us if things get fucked up in here? And you're just like, yeah, you know, what is that? And not only that, but I know people. Okay, because I talk to people in distress. They ain't doing shit. I'm probably the person that's going to end up like throwing that guy out of the plane so that we could get the situation on the emergency exit row going. Oh, we'll find out at the same time, buddy. Why are there so many huge gaps on your resume? Honestly, I'm still trying to figure out Microsoft Word. I just keep hitting enter. That's why there's so many gaps. We already did that one. Professor X, what is your superpower? I possess the mutant power of hindsight. Well, that's not going to help us fight the juggernaut. Yes, I can see that now. I realize that's not helpful. I got rejected by multiple car insurance companies because my driving is so avant-garde and unprecedented that to put a price value on it would cheapen the human spirit. Audrey, wherever you are out there in the world, Flemmy, wherever you are, I wish I could meet you because your sense of humor is what I would say it's the same as mine, but honestly, you did really well here, and I would aspire to this, ma'am. I'm really proud of this tweet, Audrey. Got rejected by multiple car insurance companies because my driving is so avant-garde and unprecedented. To put a price value on it would cheapen the human spirit. Obviously, I like jokes about people joking about what a bad driver they are as well. Any illiterate quarry worker, an illiterate quarry worker in 10,000 BC was able to afford this house, nice yard, and a car, and stay with a stay-at-home wife and daughter. This is what was taken from you. Do we blame Fred for being illiterate when he lived in the era before the written language? You know, it's not his fault. The Phoenicians hadn't even written down a language on papyrus yet. It's not his fault that he was illiterate. There was no language to be literate in. But you're right, folks. When you watch the Flintstones and you think about what has been taken from us, you should realize that you're not nearly angry enough. Tyler eats veggies? That's weird. Are we still talking about sandwiches? Well, ignoring me is a whole other matter. I don't ignore you. I'm addressing you right now, Abby Ellsworth. Lots of onions and Miracle Whip makes a great sandwich. Oh my gosh. You ever wonder why we keep these people in a separate country? It's because of comments like this. You make me believe in a strong border between us. If I could, pick all 4 meats, bacon, the whole bottom row, the sun-dried tomato, and a chipotle mayo, and put chips on it, guys. Let's not forget putting chips on it. Can we skip the whole degree thing and focus on the people who know how to use ChatGPT and can actually do the job? Is that how jobs are now? Is knowing how to use ChatGPT? Oh, you're saying that we should focus? We should not focus on those people. Find people who can work. I hope that's what you meant. That being said, John, you can now refer to me as Doctor. Honestly, I should the next time somebody. But the thing is nobody ever calls me Mister. But if anyone ever, I'm going to do that from now on. Whenever someone calls me Mister, I'm going to be like, it's Doctor. Actually, I'm just going to try to play that card. Why not? Case in point, Des Moines Public Schools former superintendent was found to not even have held a degree. Yes, we heard about that. That was shocking. Of course, we have judges over in North Carolina setting people free, and they don't have a Juris Doctorate either. So after being arrested by ICE. Yeah, that's Des Moines for you. Des Moines is the equivalent of Minneapolis, but for Iowa. It's the capital. Well, to clarify, just for precision's sake, it's St. Paul in Minnesota, but they're right next to each other. That's why they're the twin cities. And everything bad that's happening in Minneapolis is also happening in St. Paul. But Des Moines is just the Minneapolis of Iowa. Being standing up is a male privilege too. Didn't I say that? I believe I said that. Also, our votes count 66% more than yours, and we make 33% more amount of money for doing the same job. So I've done pajamas to get coffee before only through the drive-thru. Foxy, please, when you go out in public, please. I expect you to dress up like a lady, but I will go shirtless. That is what is acceptable for me. That's the double standard, though. I told you that there's a standard of behavior for you and a standard of behavior for me. You should dress up as a lady, and I should just wear pants. I don't even have to wear shoes. I went to Walmart the other day. Dude peed on a bush, didn't cover himself very well, and got his ass beat, and sheriff showed up. Well, that's California for you as well. Message her, John. You have her handle. Who am I messaging? Hello, Taliu. Good to see you. Just before I move on, whose handle am I messaging? I don't remember who I'm messaging. Put that in there because I don't remember who I'm supposed to be messaging. That's just the nature of the show. I move on to things and then I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to be at. So here's where we left off with the Flintstones. Commercial for Stones. Are you tired of killing 2 birds with your bare fucking hands? You are an idiot. Try stones. Now you can kill 2 birds at once with just a stone. The stone makes it easy for you to kill 2 birds. Stop wearing out your bare fucking hands killing these multiple birds. It sounds like something interdimensional cable from Rick and Morty. Bro, if any of y'all was praying on my downfall, you won. I'm sorry. Please stop. No more need to pray for my downfall. If you think about it, a microphone is a camera that takes picture of sound. The girl from the meme. Except I'm not on X. That's the problem. I'm pretty sure that the meme originally came from X. So I can't message her. My parents refused to buy me a big wooden mallet. But I don't blame them, for nor would the deer buy Hunter a rifle. What? Is Cutter Hambley implying that if his parents buy him a big wooden mallet, that he would use it to smash them with? I just like the way it's phrased. My parents refused to buy me a big wood mallet, but I don't blame them, for nor would the deer buy Hunter a rifle. It's very well composed. The fact that I'm constantly saying strange and unpleasant things is just part of my charm. I wish I had seen this years ago. This basically explains me. The fact that I'm constantly saying strange and unpleasant things is just part of my charm. That's what people like about me. the unlikable things. Rudy says, bro, is it gay to put lotion on? And Horn Sphere says, it is, but sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes you have to put lotion on. We do have someone from Canada here, so I'm curious what he thinks about this. How other countries imagine Americans eat breakfast? Well, the breakfast gun goes on the left, right? You eat with your right hand, so you're not going to handle your gun and your fork with the same hand. And if you're left-handed, frankly, I don't think you're eligible for this kind of breakfast. The ratio of bacon to eggs is a little off. You like to see eggs in pairs, don't you? Like whenever you see an advertisement for breakfast, the eggs are always two. There's never just one. Also, if you perhaps maybe here though with a buttery toast with no jam accompaniment, you can just take that egg, get some bacon, and just throw that into a sandwich real quick. Eat the sandwich with your right hand, and the gun's in your left, and then coffee when you're done with the sandwich. Me to myself, for some reason, please don't allow anyone to help you or be close to you. I found out what that's called. That's called avoidant attachment disorder. Well, I don't know if it's a disorder, but my therapist had the kid gloves on when she was trying to explain to me that it's everything that's wrong with me. But don't allow anyone to help you or be close to you. This is avoidant attachment. I thought I deleted this one. I'm sad that this one's still here. As an alpha male, I rebuke roller coasters. I will not be jostled and flown along a silly track, according to another man's engineering, flipping around some pervert's dream. And what if I squeal? I also just don't like roller coasters. I don't like pretending that I'm dying for fun. I believe whatever I come up with in my head, because why would I lie to me? Why would I lie to me? 1,000 years ago, my lord, the rebels have breached the western gate and are massacring their way through the lower quarters. Our defenders have withdrawn to the dragon's stair, but we only brought ourselves an hour. General So, standing over walking. Come here for a second. I want you to taste this. This is General So's chicken. He's literally, the situation is dire for the Chinese. The General So's over there. He's like, come here, I want you to try this. Is this good? Does this need more turmeric? Being alone for a while is dangerous. It's addictive. Once you see how peaceful it is, you don't want to deal with people anymore. That's me in therapy. I look just like that guy. Muscular, handsome, serious, Tom Hardy. That's me. Grandpa, why are you driving so fast? Your grandma's waiting for us. But grandma's dead. Grandpa's ready to go and he doesn't care who goes with him. Oh, no more learning experiences, please. God, I'm smart enough. I don't need to. I've been taught my lesson. I know. I understand. I don't need to be told anymore. Please. What do I bring to a relationship? Heavy metal, videos, fantasy role-playing games, comics. I've got my comics. Sex, I bring that to a relationship. Symbols, power, I bring that. Cartoons, I bring drugs to a relationship. I think this is actually a list of what people said was associated with Satanism in the 90s, which is weird. Heavy metal, I understand, we all grew up listening to tales of what Marilyn Manson and even Ozzy Osbourne was like kind of known for. There's a story that went around about Ozzy biting the head off of a bat during a show, which isn't true. Videos, I'm not sure, how that really plays into satanic panic. Fantasy role-playing games, I know that there's a while there where they believed Dungeons and Dragons was so heavily associated with that. Comics, I know, had their era back in the 50s where they thought that was really demoralizing for children. How is sex related to Satan? I'm not sure. I hate to say this to the Christian right, but God created sex, so it's not evil as long as you're doing it right. And then symbols, power. I don't know. Cartoons. I don't know how you grow up with Bugs Bunny and think that they're inherently there. And drugs. Well, drugs are probably the only thing here that's really associated with Satan. Marijuana, even the light drugs, the stuff that certain people among us work to logistically ship out to as many of our countrymen as we possibly can, as fast as possible, speeding up the delivery of drugs. Fairly satanic. When a girl likes you, she talks to you every day. She will email you back and forth. She will send you DMs. And you will not know that she likes you. And apparently, when you start to like her back, she is very busy and can't talk at all. That is how it works. I've talked before on the show about how all those occasions where I didn't notice that a girl liked me, that made me realize that it didn't matter. Right? Like the girl that made me a birthday cake on my birthday, my freshman year of college. I could have been so smooth that I would have said, why do I need a cake when you're so sweet? Or like, why don't we find a place to go eat this together? And then maybe I'll have you for dessert. I could have said a whole line. There was endlessly number of lines there that I could have gone with, right? Really good stuff. Primo stuff. Really good. But it wouldn't have mattered because if I had shown the faintest level of interest in that woman who made me the cake in college, she would have immediately ignored me. The only reason why she was interested in me at all was because I was aloof. Because I said, oh, yeah, thanks for the cake, closing the door in her face. She probably loves me to this day because of that move. I didn't do it on purpose. I had no idea what was going on. But if there's anything that will make a woman love you more, it's being aloof. It's being unreachable. It's being non-emotional. It's being the thing which they can't have. That's what makes a woman love you. And if you become available, there's no surer way to cancel out a woman's affections for you than returning them. So men, if you want to be loved, I guess my advice for you is to make sure that you never let the veneer of absolute emotionlessness ever crack. Never let a woman see what's going on inside you. You may have huge reservoirs of love and emotion and appreciation for a woman, but if she ever sees that inside of you, if she ever sees that you're a sweet, sensitive guy that has all the interest in the world and just making her happy, that will cancel the relationship. So we've now come full circle on learning how to talk to and deal with women, and it's by remaining absolutely aloof from them, like James Bond would. There's a reason why that's a trope. Just remember to embrace that in all of your future treatment of women. Just in case no one told you today, life is decay. Everything's dying. Everything's falling apart. Entropy is the only thing that's on the rise in the universe. You will always truly be alone. Remember that idiot John Donne said that no man is an island. Well, how smart was John Donne, the famous poet? He's not that smart. You know how I know? Because he's dead. If he was smart, he'd still be alive, but he's not. He said no man is an island. That guy's an idiot. He's truly alone now. You are expendable, absolutely expendable. There's always somebody not only that can replace you just as well, but possibly even slightly better. That person's always waiting in the wings. Nothing happens for a reason. It's just stuff. Just as a reminder, you're going to die. And not only that, but you will not be long remembered. Think about the people that have died in your life, just in the last 5 years since COVID. Think about the people that have died. There were people that you even seriously grieved when they passed away. Foxy, I'm not talking to you right now. But do you think about them every day? Do you care about them? The world went on without missing a beat after they were gone. It will be like you never existed. Those people are dead, they're gone, and history has forgotten their names, and everyone has managed to cope just fine without them. And so if your absence does not matter, how can your presence possibly matter? Just something to think about. Just putting that out there into the universe. We already covered this. If you're ever lost in the woods, just look for the North Star. Its distant, cold twinkling will comfort you as you die. Oh, you're so strong. Well, thanks. I literally have no choice. What am I supposed to do? Everything's just supposed to. I mean, the problem is that all the stuff that's giving me so much pain isn't actually lethal for me at all. All the stuff that makes me not want to go on living, it won't do me any favors. It won't take me out. So, am I strong because I persist? No, it's just that, and whatever doesn't kill you doesn't make you stronger. It just leaves you horribly wounded. What was that old saying I used to love? It was something a little bit more clever than whatever doesn't kill you leaves you crippled for all time or something. It was something like that. Come though, man, we're hanging out in a seemingly boundless grove of pomegranate trees. It's always dusk here. I've forgotten almost every detail of my past. That seems to be the only way to be happy, is if somehow you can get to a place where you're embracing nature, possibly on your own. I would love to see a pomegranate tree and you're in some sort of perpetual twilight and you have no memory of yourself. How do I get to that, practically speaking, in real life? Probably drugs. I've never understood drugs, but if drugs can get me here, let's do drugs. What do you guys say? The biggest difference between me and my father is that I know I'm mentally ill. I bring that up every session, of course, too. My dad, total narcissist. My dad this, my dad that. What does it matter? He'll be gone and history will forget about him and me too. I'm such a who did you invite person because I refused to pretend to enjoy the presence of people that I know I don't enjoy. I want to, if I'm going to a gathering, this used to be more the case back when I was a correctional officer, and a lot of correctional officers would hang out in large groups. I would not go to functions. I would need a full accountability of the roster of everyone that's there. Because if that fuckface Nelson is there, I'm not going. I don't like Nelson. Was he the only officer I didn't really like? No, there were lots of others. He's just the one I'm remembering from my early days. I don't even know what happened to that guy. Anyway, I will wear my emotions on my face, and if I'm uncomfortable, you will see it. That's me. There's a big difference between a couch nap and a bed nap. First of all, I don't even own a couch big enough to nap on, which is a situation that really needs to be remedied as soon as possible. A couch nap is where you take a subtle little jaunt through the subconscious. A bed nap is where you succumb to the darkness, much like an old sign getting engulfed by the bark of a tree. I'm used to being engulfed, but I would like the little jaunt through the subconscious. I need a bigger couch. I need to make that a priority for me. I need to hurry because I'm not sure how many yeehaws I got left. I was reading a story recently where someone's crossing a sound of water, a bay. And as they were keeping watch, they're the ones piloting the boat. They randomly saw a deer swimming out in the middle of the bay. And it was such a random, it was a true accounting of something that happened to them. But they're out in the middle of the bay, like the Puget Sound or something, and they happen to see a young deer out in the middle of the water, treading water and looking terrified. It was just something they casually mentioned in the book, and I found it very upsetting. The idea of a horse swimming is upsetting to me. I think when I heard the story of them finding sharks, because sharks live forever. Sharks live for like 300 years or something, and like they cut open a shark and they see what's inside of it, and then they found a shark that like had horse bones, like it had eaten a horse. You're just like, it occurred to me that some rich asshole is going out there taking his horse on his yacht and then pushing the horse off of the boat just for shits and giggles out in the middle of the ocean. And I'm like, rich people don't go out in the middle of the ocean and do utterly depraved things because there's no law enforcement out there. That's crazy. Now that we know what they do to children, it would not surprise me if the cruelty to animals on the high seas was something that is a perverse enjoyment for many people, and that's something that we don't know about at all. Anyway, it's just something to bother you with. Guys, keep me in your thoughts. Nothing happened. I just want you to think about me. You should be thinking about me at all times. Me on my deathbed when thousands of memes flash before my eyes instead of the memories with my loved ones. Because I have this show and I have no loved ones, it will just be these memes. When I'm finding that good snowy spot to bleed out alone with all the proof that I need, but unable to get it to my investigative partner in time, I will not be thinking about my loved ones. I will just be thinking about all these thousands of memes, including that one, ironically. So apparently the bad vibes I've been feeling are actual severe psychological distress. This, of course, is according to Soft-Boiled Egg Dealer. I don't know why it says it at the top and the bottom. I guess he really wanted to be credited. Guys, this might be a hot take. And I'm sorry if this makes anyone uncomfortable, but I would really like it if good things started happening again, too. Any day now. Something good could happen, could catch us off guard. I say, bring on the good thing. That would be nice. Do you ever feel like you were born missing the crucial spark that makes a person and have thus spent your whole life trying to act human by fulfilling other people's ideas of how a person should be? Just trying to meet whatever someone else's expectations are for you, because that's the only way that you can be loved, that you can be valued, by conforming to someone else's idea of what you're supposed to be. And this whole life, your whole life, you're chasing that other person's value that they could ascribe to you on a whim. But since I gave you the advice to be aloof and withholding, I guess that's not coming for you. So you're just going to have that empty feeling after you make the right decision. Choosing the right thing is always the loneliest and hardest thing, isn't it? Shorty Rides woke up. She always wakes up at like 3 a.m. just to say hi. Where did we leave off with the comments? Saw that. Iowa in the house. Yes. Glad that people are from Iowa here. I keep a maple leaf beside me to remind me that you're Canadian. I assumed you wouldn't unholster the gun. I own a couple holsters, to be honest. Open carrying, I think, is a stupid way to carry a gun. Someone's just going to shoot you before you ever draw. No one ever. It's not like the movies. It's not the Old West where no one's going to shoot you until you draw. Here, someone's just going to shoot you if they see you carrying a gun. I need 4 bacon per egg. That's the correct ratio. 4 bacon per egg. Lauren, if you're eating 4 pieces of bacon per egg, I probably need to get you those cigarettes in a hurry, because you're also smoking on top of it. And bacon and eggs, you're in trouble. Am I at the end? Yes, you're near the end. We're at an hour and a half here somehow. So I do have to get going, getting on with my day. Thank you, everyone who dropped by. James Bond would still sleep with them. That's the part that you missed. That's the part I missed out on. Yeah, I did miss out on sleeping with anyone. One of my favorite poems, A Valediction, Forbidding Morning Poem by John Donne. John Donne was an idiot. I just say that to argue with you. Jonathan, Britt, hello. Fuckface is so underused. This coming from an Australian, someone who really knows how to swear. I still miss many comedians that have passed away, Phil Hartman and Pee Wee Herman. You miss comedians. Okay. Yes, facefuck changes it a lot. I really think public shame needs to make a comeback. Chase, I had a meme about that ready for this week, but it got pushed to next week. So I encourage you to watch next Tuesday. We will have a meme that's about that. Don't worry, the show can end now. I am back from my meeting. Well, it's about to end. I would be very suspicious if good things just started happening again. I'm not sure what I would enjoy it. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would be like, what's the hidden motivation here? What's the agenda? When's the other shoe going to drop? When's something even worse going to happen that recontextualizes this good thing as a bad thing? Okay. I don't know why I put that on the screen. Did you start late, John? It's 5:00. No, I started at 10:30. I'm just going late today. Someone who knows how to swear. Glad we're known for something positive, John. Well, you're also known for the boomerang, Vegemite, and shrimp on a bobby, and Crocodile Dundee. Yep, that's your whole country. Being criminals, I guess. I don't know. All right. I would like it if people stopped filming mundane activities. I agree to that. I don't really understand people filming everyday activities. Prawns, John. Then how come you say let's throw another shrimp on the bobby? That's like the Australian national motto. So shrimp on the bobby. Kangaroos, thank you. I did forget that. And koalas, I guess. Kangaroos, koalas, dingoes, wallabies, boomerangs. Being the Texas version of English people. All right. I should just include more stuff about Australians. Guys, we'll see you back here on Thursday night for more stuff from the Corey Richards case. It's an interesting case. Drew's excited, and I'm excited for Drew. He was paid to say it. Giant spiders. Didgeridoo, yeah, but that's more Aboriginal, isn't it? I know that white people aren't allowed to play that anymore. I learned that from you. Anyway, guys, we will see you on Thursday. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good time. We're going to talk more about the Corey Richards case, which is an important and interesting case. More so than I thought that it would be. I thought that it would be rather straightforward, but it's not. We will catch you back here on Thursday night. Thanks for everyone who dropped in on this Tuesday to watch my show go for an hour and a half. I appreciate all you guys. Lauren, reach out to me about the cigarettes. If serious, Jenny, Shorty, all my favorites. Abby, required to be mentioned. Felony money required by law to be here. Talia, glad to see you here on a Tuesday. Elijah was here earlier. Everyone else, take care. We will see you back here next Tuesday. If you want me to move the show to Friday, let me know.